a little bit. Internet is good now.
Oh, okay.
It's good.
I thought I was froze for a second. So,
Yeah. So what's up, man? What's new? What's going on?
oh, another week,
Another week, another day in paradise.
another day in paradise, living the dream, loving life. Life is
I'm
good.
off. I'm off for the next 4 days.
Are you?
Going to Missouri with the wife and visit some friends. And I'm not Bigfoot.
Well, I'm going into an area that is Bigfoot-ish. I'm
Yeah,
leaving. Yeah, I just made that up. I don't even know if that's a real word.
I like it.
But I'm going to go into an area Friday and Saturday and Sunday and stay for like some kind of music festival.
Okay.
And so I'm just going to like hang out with some folks and get away for a minute, get a little mental break. So.
Yeah. So who do we have on tonight, man? We have now. She's done a couple of podcasts already, and I was listening to them. And I was like, oh my god, I want to talk to her. We got to talk to her on our show.
I listened to part of that one that you sent me.
You did? Oh, man, you didn't listen to the whole thing, man?
It was on the drive home. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, but it's pretty interesting, though.
It is. Lisa Leach. I'm gonna call her LL Cool Chick, though.
LL Cool Chick.
Yeah, LL Cool Chick.
You should have put that as her name when it
I know, man. It just came out of my head right now.
Oh, see, you're the genius. You're the genius.
I don't know about that.
Well, I think it's LL Cool Chick. I love it.
It's LL Cool Chick, man. Hey, let's do this real quick though. We gotta do this.
Here comes Cryptoholics. We got Bigfoot in the woods. We got aliens in the sky. We got ghosts in the attics. Here comes Cryptoholics.
Fighting too below.
Oh shit, man. Weird guy.
It never gets old. It never gets old.
I know, man.
I need that clip. I don't know if you have it or if I have it, but I need that song clip. Because, I created the TikTok page for us.
Okay.
And I'm going to add that on there as one of the videos because I think it'd be hilarious.
Oh, man. Awesome. Well, let's welcome Lisa.
LL
Cool Chick in the house.
LL Cool Chick. Yeah. Hey, Lisa.
Hello.
She's probably like, why in the hell did I come on?
It's more like everybody calls me Crazy Bigfoot Lady, so you can call me either one.
Right. Yeah, we will call you crazy. So.
No, because we're on the same. We're crazy too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm crazy in a different way. So my personality's just out there.
Okay. All right.
So, I listened to a couple podcasts, and I think that what stuck out to me and made me just grab onto my internal fear is being a child in a bed and having one of these things in the window just right outside your bed. So, you want to talk about like what all led up to that? I know you've done it, but
Sure.
Yeah,
I can do it again. Yeah. When I was 11, somewhere around there, my mother and father got divorced, so we moved in with my grandparents in Claiborne Parish, Louisiana, in a town, population less than 100 back then. It's just now 150 now.
Oh.
But yeah, it's a spot in the road. There's nothing there. And it's not even a crossroads, it's just there. But yeah, we started having some stuff going on. We had land that it was backed up to the woods called Middle Fork Bottom. And this was a big area of woods that nobody liked going in, really. They were just creepy. And our land met that, but that's part of Kisatchie National Forest. And we lived on some land that had a little well road that ran right beside our house. Matter of fact, it was our driveway, but when it kept going, it went down probably quarter to a half mile to an old oil well pump. And then it dead ended. So, nobody went down there, but the guy came to check the well once in a while, So anyways, we used to walk down that road a lot, and my mom and my dad, my mom and my grandmother and my aunt used to deer hunt down there all the time. And the first thing that happened was they were deer hunting, and my grandmother had gone up the hill, and she thought she heard a buck snorting in the woods. So she got back in there, and it kept snorting and snorting. And she's like, yeah, this is a big buck. It's going to come out in a minute. So she stoops down with her gun and she gets ready, and something screamed at her that she'd never heard before. Scared her so bad. She tumbled down the hill, down the rocky road, and scared herself up pretty bad. But after that, I was mainly the only kid there all the time. I was like an only child back then. But my grandparents said I would bring friends and stuff over. My sister would come over on the weekends, and we were not allowed to go past the second cattle guard. And, we're kids. Kids don't listen. And if you tell them not to do something, they're usually going to do it. So we did. My sister came over with her best friend, who's to this day still our best friend. But we still, she's our adopted sister now. She's been there forever. But we all took off down past the second cattle guard, and that's where the woods deepened on both sides. There was always woods on the right, but when you got down there, it was on both sides, right at the tree line on the left. And as soon as we got down there, we started smelling something. It smelled horrible. It smelled like something was dead. That's the only way I can describe it. That's what we thought it was. We thought one of the neighbor's cows had wandered over and had just died somewhere. And I was a little bit younger, but they were 3 years older than me. They just kind of blew it off, let's just go. So we started, and when we got right to the edge of the woods, we may have taken 2 or 3 steps into the wood line, and something growled at us from the left, and it was big sounding, and it was like a deep guttural growl. And we knew it wasn't on the ground because you could tell it was higher up in the edge of the woods. So it wasn't sitting on the ground. We didn't know what it was. We just took off running, and we were barefoot. We ran up that rock road, and I don't think we ever touched the ground. That's how scared we were. And of course, we go tell Mom and Grandma, and now we're in trouble because we went past the cattle guard we weren't supposed to. But then they still didn't say anything about what happened, But anyway, and I'm trying to remember what chronological order this all happened in. One night, I think this was what happened next. My granddad had passed away during this time. And so it was just me, my mother, and my grandmother there now. And one night I'm laying in my bed, and the window is like right behind my head, above me in the bed. And my mother is in the next room over in the shower. She had been taking a shower. And I started hearing something. All the windows were open in the house because it was that time of year when you turn off the AC and you open all the windows. So I could hear this walking outside my window, and you could hear it crunching the leaves and breaking sticks as it walked. And it was like crunch, 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 and then it got so close to my window that I could hear this thing breathing. And it was a deep, like a really, really big person had asthma, because they were breathing in really, really deep and then breathing out really, really deep. And it was real raspy sounding. So in my brain, somebody had asthma, But I'm hearing this, and I'm just totally freaked out. And something came over me. I guess it's fear that paralyzes you, because I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I couldn't yell. I couldn't talk, couldn't anything. And I was just laying there, and my mother comes running out of the bathroom into the hall, and she gets to my doorway, and she starts yelling at me to get out of the bed and come in there, get out of the bed. And I can't, I can't. The body is not doing what the brain's wanting it to do. It just won't do it. And she comes in the doorway far enough to the bottom of my bed. She grabs my foot and she starts pulling on me. And I guess that broke the spell or whatever, and I was able to get up and run in the hallway with her. But she had heard it outside the bathroom window. and that's why she had ran in there.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't remember if she heard the breathing, but she heard the walking, so she knew something was out there. But it scared her bad enough. She may have heard it because when she came to my door, she said she could not look at the window when she came in there. She made herself not look at the window the whole time getting me up because she was too scared to. But anyway, as we were in the hallway, my grandmother's room, the door was right across the hallway from mine. And my grandmother comes running out, what's going on? What's going on? You know, and we're trying to tell her what's happening and what we're hearing. And while we're doing that, something hit the back of the house so hard that it shook the whole house. I mean, it rattled the windows. It was just boom, you know. And that's when my grandmother's like, maybe somebody's trying to break in. So she runs and gets her gun, and we go through the kitchen trying to look out the window. You know, you can't see anything because the window's little over the kitchen sink's in the way. So we went on into the dining room where there's a larger window, and we're trying to look out the window to see what's going on, what's out there, you know. And it's right beside the back door. And we're just standing there and we're thinking if somebody's trying to break in, this is where we're going to see them. Well, you couldn't see anything. You could see nothing through the window. And that didn't make any sense because my granddad had a paint and body shop. It was right across the driveway right there. It had a big light that shined on our side porch. And it lit up the front yard and the backyard because it was shining on the side. So we were wondering, where's the light? You know, it's not making any sense. And about that time, you know, they were discussing, well, where's the light? We can't see. And this thing moved away from the window. It moved to the left. And when it moved away, we realized the reason we couldn't see out the window is because something was blocking the window, and it was just standing right in front of it. And we're like up here at the window going, what's going on? What's going on? And when it moved away and we realized that it was something there, you can't imagine the feeling of being this close to something that we couldn't figure out, because when it moved away, it was hairy and it was gigantic because it covered the whole window. And in order to do that, it had to be at least 8 feet tall because the house was off of the ground some. I mean, I used to go under there all the time and play. Yeah. So I know, I was a kid, but the house was above the ground. So in order for it to be tall enough to block the whole window, it had to be pretty big. So that we couldn't figure out what the heck this was. And the rest of that night, I think we were just kind of in shock, you know, just kind of let the shock wear off. And I slept with my mother that night. I don't think any of us probably did a lot of sleeping, but I slept with my mother. The next day I made her move my bed away from the window because I wasn't sleeping in there with the window right there at my head ever again. And I think I slept with my mother a lot after that anyways. But so another day, I was talking about the light shining from the shop. There was a side porch on the house that my granddad had built, and it was a deck porch. It had sliding glass doors, and we never covered the sliding glass doors because, you know, we're in the country. Why? But so they're just open, and my grandmother saw something she thought was somebody standing in the driveway, which is about 30 feet from the porch to be standing in the driveway. And she thought it was this big black man. And of course, we didn't even have any black neighbors around there, but that's just what she thought it was. This is a big black man. And I don't know what he's doing out here in our yard, but she called the police. And closest police was Homer Police. And, you know, that was 10 miles away. It took them 30 minutes to get there. By the time they got there, whatever it was long gone, you know. They looked around outside and they were like, we can't find anything, you know, so they left. So, but you know, my dogs ran off. Both times my dogs left. Anytime that I think it came close to the house, it scared the crap out of my dogs because they would run down the street to another house, some neighbors that we knew, and they would call us saying, your dogs won't go home. They're here and we have to go get them. So it scared the dogs. And they were big dogs. They weren't little bitty. They were shepherds, German shepherds. But, yeah, but anyways, another time, when my mother remarried, she remarried somebody who got a job as a truck driver. And, he was gone a lot, especially at night. So, still mostly it was just me, my mother and grandmother there at night. But, one day when he was there, out of curiosity, we walked down to where the, thing had growled at me and my sister and her friend in that area. And we went out in that area of the woods looking around. It was me, my stepdad, and my mother. And nobody ever went in through those woods because there was no reason to. That was close to the house. There was nothing back there. When you deer hunted, you went on down the road, so nobody ever went in that part of the woods. And we're just walking around there looking because we heard that growl. And we found this shelter-like thing. And it was, there was a big, old log, not log, I always say log, stump. It was a stump. And it had been, it was dug out. I don't know, it was weird. It was like dug out. There was a stump and the front of it was dug out, and all these limbs and vines were laid on top of it and around it. And it like had a doorway in the front. And I remember thinking, oh, cool, that would make a nice fort, because we used to make forts all the time in the woods. But, I didn't realize that nobody did at that time what that could be. So we're looking at it, and my mom's like, do we have a hobo staying back here? Because it looked like somebody had been sleeping in there. There was pine straw down in the bottom of it that looked like it was packed down. I mean, it looked like somebody had at least been sitting in there. And but right outside the doorway was a stack of feathers on one side. I don't remember what color they were, just that they were stacked so neatly. And then on the other side was a stack of bones. And these bones had been picked clean, and they were stacked in another little stack. So we had two stacks there. And we were like, okay, that don't make any sense either. It looks like somebody sat here and ate a bird, I know. But we did have chickens, and we had some get out from time to time, but I really don't recall if we ever had any missing. I probably wouldn't have known. But I know the watermelons, we had a garden. The watermelons were always missing. And us kids, we used to get accused of taking them because, sometimes kids do. And after we got accused, of course we did, because, you accuse somebody of something, they always go do it.
Because you guys are cattle guard crossers.
Yeah, well, we rebels. But yeah, the watermelons were always coming up missing. So I don't know what was getting the watermelons, and I don't know what else, might have come up missing. I do know our neighbors did one time say that something had killed their rabbits, and the rabbits were in cages. So he didn't know who. He thought somebody had done it, and didn't make any sense, but he raised rabbits and sold them, and something had killed his rabbits. But, see, the next thing I remember is, sitting out on the porch one night with my grandmother. It was a little past bedtime. She was letting me stay up late, and, I had gone in the house to get something. I don't remember why I went in, but I came back out, and she's sitting, she's not even sitting anymore. She's standing up pointing, down near the pasture area, which is the same area where the shelter and where the thing growled at us. And she's pointing at the little pasture that's down there. And she said, did you see that? Did you see that? And I'm going, no, what did I see what, and she's that thing, she said, this thing, just dark thing, just walked across the pasture and stepped over the barbed wire fence and never stopped, never slowed down, just kept going. And I was like, no, I didn't see that, and like I said before, my grandmother was really into stretching things sometimes for attention. So we didn't know whether to believe her or not. We were like, okay, well, the next day we all went down there, and sure enough, there's big tracks down there where something stepped over the fence, and you could see where it stepped just on the other side of the fence There was like a little ditch, a little soft area right there. And then about 5 foot away, it makes 2 tracks on the dirt road. It was on the far track. The second step was. And then I guess the third one was off in the woods because it was only the 2 tracks there. But they were 3-toed, which was, that's not all that normal for a Bigfoot, And of course, I had been harassed over the 3-toed thing. You can't even imagine.
Really?
Yes, because people are like, Bigfoot don't have 3 toes. Well, I'm here to tell them that it does. Some of them do, because that one did. And it's a normal looking print, just like a normal foot, but just with 3 toes on it.
Were they
I was gonna
like
ask
all
you.
the same size?
Yeah, that's were they spread
No,
out?
no, it was a regular foot. And then right on the top where the foot ends was 3 toes, one bigger one that was kind of bulbous, and the other ones were a little smaller than the bigger one, and they were almost the same size, but that last one was a wee bit smaller.
That is wild.
So I know they were.
Like, if this is the foot, like, is it like it takes up the whole top of the foot? Okay.
Yes.
So it wasn't like
Yes.
2 got lopped off somewhere along the way.
It didn't look like it.
I was thinking 3 toes. I was thinking these things were like this. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
gaps. And I was going like,
No webs in between, and they're not like, spread out like that. They were normal footprint.
Oh, hell,
And,
man, that 3-toed thing in Falk, I mean, it's not
I've recently heard of even more with 3 toes, because a man just contacted me recently. He's doing a documentary on the 3-toed Bigfoot, and he contacted me. And then there's another lady he contacted here in Louisiana. So it seems to be a Louisiana thing. I don't know. I know Jim Lansdale, the ones that he saw were 3-toed too. So yeah. So, I'm not the only one. Back then I was, though. Back then I was the only one with Bigfoot anyway. but we saw those tracks pretty often. We used to walk down that road, as a family. It was our exercise, in the evenings. We'd walk down there, and we saw quite a few of those tracks over time. And there was the area down by the well was like red clay, and it was like a big turnaround spot, and we saw once where it looked like it was coming from the pond, which was to the right side of my house. And it looked like it had come from the pond and walked across that area where the well was. So the tracks went all the way across, and, and they were all 3-toed in a line, and, there's about 5 foot between them. I remember jumping, trying to get where the tracks were. But they had come all the way across, and they had stepped on a rock that was, and I used to know what that rock was, and I can't remember, but it's soft. It'll flake if you mess with it. And so it had stepped on one of those soft rocks, and it had left an imprint in the rock.
Wow.
And I know, and I remember my mother going, "What weighs enough to do that? Because we don't leave an imprint in the rock, when we walk on it." But yeah, we used to see the tracks, and then eventually I thought that, I would think now that I've been into this for a long time, I thought, well, what makes the 3-toed tracks? And people are like, well, it was probably just a fluke. And I'm like, no, there was a smaller one down there with that one, because we found 2 sets of tracks one time. There were 2 sets of tracks. One was about half the size of the other one. They were small.
Also 3-toed?
Also 3-toed.
Oh, man, that's just in the blood. That's in the genes, man.
It has to be. So anyways, I can't remember what happened next. But I know my stepdad had his own sighting. He was at work. Beaugray. He used to work for Beaugray hauling oil. I don't even think they exist anymore, but they did back in the day. And he was on the line between Louisiana and Arkansas, and he had gone just up into Arkansas. It wasn't too far from Falk. because, Claiborne Parish and Falk aren't that far away anyway. And he had gone up to a lease and was either loading or unloading. I don't know how that works, but he had the hose hooked up to the truck. And I'm not sure if he might have been unloading, but anyway, he was sitting in the cab doing paperwork and had his headlights on. And as he's sitting there, he looked up from his paperwork and he saw this hairy thing standing there looking at him through the tree branches. And he thought he was just seeing things at first, but it reached up and it pulled the limbs down away from its face and he could see the face. And he said its eyes were reflected red and it just made it look so evil looking. It scared him so bad. He quit his job that night. He came home and he told us, I quit. He wouldn't tell us anything else, for the longest. Like I said, he didn't talk to us for a few days. Didn't talk to anybody, wouldn't go back outside. He was just scared. He finally told us about it, but it was years later when I discovered that he had actually gotten fired from his job because he got so scared he took off with the hose still connected to the truck. Yeah. And big boo boo.
Yeah,
they do. So,
at least a write up. So.
Well, I'm pretty sure he would have gotten fired had he not quit anyways, but he had quit, so that scared him so bad.
Yeah. My goodness.
But
Can't blame him.
It was wild living there back then. And I remember going to school and telling people, and they looked at me like I was crazy. And I really think I was the crazy one. Is what they, dubbed me. She's a crazy girl. She sees monsters, and hey, that's all it was to me, a monster. I didn't know what it was. And it was years later that I actually got computer in 2001. And I opened a doorway to a whole world out there that had experiences like mine. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not just us. Look at this, Mom, and then we dived into it. We got to find out what this is. Let's go find out what this is. So, we started going out in the woods and everything and been doing it ever since now. Well, my mom's passed away now, but I'm still doing it.
Hey, can we backtrack just for a second? Just because
Sure.
Just being a kid in bed and that window's open, right? Correct? The window's open. You can hear this thing breathing. Was it breathing like, did you feel like it was breathing close to you or breathing like it was standing up?
I don't know. I don't remember. All I remember is hearing that breathing and going into shock or something.
Man, your mom would have freaked out if she came in and just saw the hands like.
Well, there was a screen on the window, so it would have had to took the screen off, but still something just being just a little screen back between you and something that's breathing like that. Yeah. It was it's been a real PTSD thing for me because I can't sleep in a room without the windows completely covered. A tent, I have to zip my windows up in the tent. I can't. It's a thing for me. I'm scared of something looking in at me. And it's I'm sure that's what it stems from. But I'll probably still hear it, but I won't see it.
I got a question about, it was your grandma that saw someone standing in the driveway, right? Or your mom?
Yes.
Grandma.
My grandmother.
Okay. So when she said it looked like a black man, did she give like any details like the skin or anything like that? Because I have this same or similar story, with my sighting. And that's the best way I can describe it to people also, is that, people always ask, was it animal? Was it man? Was it, did it look like a gorilla? No, I was like, it looked like a black guy staring at me. And I didn't feel like weird or like fearful or anything like that. But I just remember like the skin, minus the hair, like if there was no hair on it, it would have looked just like a regular black guy. And so that when you said that, and I heard that in the podcast I listened to, I think it was Sasquatch Odyssey or something like that. Whenever you said that in that podcast, that really stuck with me because it just took me back to my moment where I saw that thing. So I was curious if your grandma had said anything like, I don't know, something that may have described it a little bit more in depth. So
No, and I'm sure she couldn't see because, like I said, the shop had the light shining, so it was standing in front of the light. So I'm sure what she saw, she probably didn't see much in the front. Just made her think
Yeah.
there was a big black man standing out there. Yeah,
Probably saw a very dark, hulking silhouette that's knocking out
that's
the light.
yeah. That's what she
Yeah.
saw.
Yeah, the skin is what got me on mine. It's just, just the way the skin looked on it. So
Did it look like leather?
maybe a little bit, but more of like if it was oily. Like there was a little sheen to it. It wasn't like I don't know. I don't really know how else to describe it. It wasn't flat. I guess you can tell.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was strange, but it wasn't like I wasn't like afraid or anything. I
Was it
shocked.
shiny? Was it shiny like this, Brian?
Yeah, like it had. You could tell it was like it had moisture to it. Like whether it was oil or sweat or something like that. You could tell that there was something there that caused it to. I don't want to say glisten, but that's the only word I can really think of. But you can obviously tell that it was. It wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't an animal. So I don't know. I know that doesn't really just tell you guys it wasn't an animal, but it wasn't. So.
Okay, so and now you're with BFFS, which I think is an awesome crew. I think ladies get probably the best stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
just think y'all do.
Yeah.
And y'all just go out there and like act like campers and.
I think we have an advantage. I think they're not as intimidated by women as they are men. So we have an advantage over that.
You guys got a super cool logo.
That was Barbara. She drew that herself.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody. I was going to say somebody that I know fixed it up after she drew it. So.
Yeah. Was that you, Shane? Did you happen to do that?
Yeah, that was one of those like where the client gives you the art, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna, do exactly what they want. It was cool.
Yeah, the first time I met Shane was at Falk, Arkansas, and I was sitting there talking to him, and I was like, "You look so familiar." And then we started talking. I started talking about the BFFS, the Bigfoot and Female Friends of the South, and he goes, I made y'all's logo for you," and I'm like, "You're Shane Church? Okay, I know you."
Was this Falk here recently?
No,
it was last year.
Oh,
last year.
Yeah, last year.
Oh, okay.
The first Boggy Creek Monster Fest, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When yeah.
Good stuff.
So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm like, wow, I came all the way here to meet him. And I thought before you said that, I'm like, well, he was a pretty cool guy I was talking to,
Oh, wow. Thank you.
He is a pretty cool guy. He's
man, look at that. You made me turn around.
That's what I told all the ladies in the group, that you were a really cool guy.
Adjust your color, Shane. Adjust your color. You're looking a little bright over there, buddy.
Woo. Holy smokes. Oh my goodness.
Oh, but anyway, yes, the Bigfoot and Friends
crew. You guys, y'all done some pretty cool stuff. Like the tracks you found were phenomenal to me because we've cast tracks and we've got this big toe that's kind of coming off.
Yes.
And here you guys are, and I'm like, no way, here it is.
Very similar.
I know, very similar to the one that you had on there, and I love what you've done with yours. How you brought out the detail in it and everything. Ours, I don't think we ever cleaned ours up like that. It really needs cleaned up and fixed. But
gosh, what do you got? Oh my goodness, you guys got to clean those things up.
Yeah.
Barbara's got to get her some paintbrushes too.
Oh, it's probably hardened up enough now. You could probably run that just underwater by now. I'm thinking.
Yeah, she probably could.
That's all I do is get in the kitchen sink with the sprayer, just open that.
Right here. That right there.
That's it. That's
Alexa was walking this way.
One track, yeah. One step. He stepped on it. He or she stepped on her own track. So that was pretty cool.
So cool.
Especially to find a left and a right like that. And that was just one of the left prints of the same one. That was pretty cool.
I absolutely love this.
But you know when it's like that, you can tell this thing's never had a shoe on in its life,
Yeah. Yeah, because if you even try to look that up in humans with that splay, that's a health problem. That's a problem
Yeah,
for people.
that's not right.
And if I had that problem, the last thing I want to do is just go out and walk barefooted in the woods, I think.
Yeah, that's just not right. I'm a nurse and I've seen a lot of feet, and none of them look like that.
Okay, and then Lisa, this is pretty
That's the
recent?
house. That's from last year. Me and my sister. Yeah, me and my sister rode by there, and I did a little video of the house where that happened. And it's changed now. There were more woods to the right side of it, and then the brick has been added on the front. But you can still see the space in the trees on the right where the road used to be.
So right here?
That went down, no, back. You had back where on the other side of the drive, on the other side of the house.
I said,
But
I'm going to back that one off, and I'm going to put this one up. This one's better. I think it's interesting that you actually went out there and,
well, we were curious. I'm curious as to whether they're still there or not. I wonder, and I want to talk to the people who live there so bad, but I don't know who it is. But right after you go past the little red building right there, there's a little split in the trees.
Okay.
And you can, to the right side of the house, you can see it used to be a road. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Right in front of that truck windows right there. You can see used to be a road right there.
Okay.
That's the road. Used to go down to a well, and I'm sure it's probably nothing there by now, but I would love to try to go back down there, look and see if there's still any road there still.
That would be interesting.
And I know I would love to go back there.
You said there's 150 people there now?
Yeah, the population of Lisbon, Louisiana is 150 now.
Man, you still have great chances to get out there and find some stuff,
I know. But I'm obsessed with going right there, right back to that same spot. I would love to do that.
You should.
And, can you go forward with that video just a little bit?
Go forward?
Keep going.
Yeah, you see more where the road used to be right there. Right there, yeah.
Keep going a little further. I want to look at something there on the house.
On this house?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the house, right, Lisa?
That's the house. And it looks like they have torn out the front part and made a garage.
It's right there.
Is this the kitchen window right here?
No, that is actually in the living room.
Oh, okay.
So look how tall
the kitchen
windows are, though. That's what I'm
the kitchen's on the back side of the house, and so was my bedroom, so was the dining room. And the back side of the house was further off the ground than the front.
Man, if it was standing, man, that's big. That's big.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. And
it's huge.
Yeah, and that little window that you see right there, the dining room window, would be directly behind that.
Okay.
I think you can see some more windows as you keep going.
And then my bedroom was on the far end down here on this end, and mine was on the very back there.
Oh, back facing the tree line?
Yes, facing the woods back there.
Man.
Okay.
Yeah. My grandmother's was to the front, and my mother's was right beside it. So, yeah. It was my room, the bathroom, the kitchen, the dining room on the back.
Wow.
Very cool.
And there was no fence there at the time. That fence was not there.
Okay.
Yeah, that was not there.
What about neighbors? How many neighbors were out here?
We had one neighbor. We didn't have any to the right. They have cut the woods down on the right now, and there's a house there. But back then it was just woods. There was nothing there to the right. And to the left was one trailer house where the man and woman lived that raised the rabbits, and they were off a little ways from that. Probably just out of the picture there would have been where their mobile home was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only other person on that area of the road. And then when you went on down, there was a church at the end of the road down there. And then it went to the left and made a circle and came back out to the highway. And there were three houses down there. And that was it. So there's no houses around there.
Man, it's
There were
still a good
there weren't
spot
been.
for
It is still a good spot, and that's all woods back there. It goes to nothing but Middle Fork Bottom and the Kisatchie National Forest. There's nothing back there.
National Forest is all you got to say, for a lot of this stuff. It's just,
You know what would be really cool is if
What's that?
the guy who lives in this house is a Bigfoot fan and he's watching our show and he's like, "Why are they showing my house?"
I live there.
That'd be wild. So
It would be, but if he is listening, contact me because I want to go back there.
I was gonna say the same thing, Lisa.
He's
I was
like,
like,
"Hey,
"Sure, if you are
hey
one."
man, I caught one of them little ones, man. I got them in my garage. You'd like to come over and look at it?
Yeah.
I have an email. It's crazybigfootlady@gmail.com. If you live there,
I called you crazy Bigfoot.
contact me. That's why.
Now it's okay to call you crazy Bigfoot lady.
Yes, it is. Okay.
All right, Lisa. So I want to get into, let's see, because you were kind enough to send us pictures. So I want to get into this one real quick here. I love it when people have pictures, man.
Show and tell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So where is this at?
That is up in Oklahoma, where Heather and I stayed for a week. And we rode her side by side around 327 miles through the woods. We broke her side by side in good. And that was just some of the rock piles that we found in the forest, or some of those were on the edge of the woods. That one was in the forest.
That right there is wild.
Yeah. What's really cool about the rock piles, I have to tell you a story while we were there. The last night we were there, Heather and I were sitting out around the fire, and something made this loud boom, like either something had fallen out of a tree, a real big limb or log or something, or a big rock fallen or something. And we looked at each other and she's like, "Shine the light behind me, please," because it was behind her, and we looked around, we didn't see anything. And she's like, "I think we need to go ahead and go to the tents." So we did. But the next morning, I walked out to the road, which, we were camped right beside it. I walked out around to the back side of the tents, and there was a stack of rocks that had not been there before. And it was one big rock on the bottom, really big, where, I couldn't have picked it up. Me and Heather probably couldn't have picked it up together. It was sat there, and then there was another rock set on top of it that was a medium-sized rock, and then a little bitty rock, sitting on top of that. And I was going to get pictures of that one, but when I kicked it with my foot a little bit, it just fell over. And when it did, I looked under it. I know. And then I looked under it, and I said, "Oh, there's no indention where this rock's been sitting here for a long time." And you could see over to the right where the medium-sized rock had come from, because it left the indention there where the rock had been. So this big rock had been brought in from somewhere, and then that rock and the little rock had been put on top of it. So we wonder if that's not maybe what we heard was that big rock falling. We don't know for sure, but it sure makes sense. And seemed like those around that area like to stack rocks for some reason.
Holy smokes, that's a great stack right there.
That was pretty cool. And I know, and I wish I'd have been able to get a picture of that one that was right at our tents before I touched it with my foot and knocked it over. But
barely touched it and knocked it over. Yeah, that was like
right.
Fresh.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh wow!" When it fell, that's what I thought. Oh wow, that's just barely there, And I don't know. It's just weird.
That is weird. Okay, well, what about let's see.
Heather, I just saw she said steak night was wild too. I did forget to tell you about that. When we were I just saw Heather say that on there. That night that we were cooking steak, and she had her little dog with her, Ben. He's a sweetheart, sweet Ben. He always sits out there with us, and boy, when we're cooking steak or whatever, he sits out there and he's trying to get a bite, Well, we started hearing some howling noises while we were cooking the steak. And they were kind of weird. We sit there and we're like, we're ruling out everything. Not coyote, not fox. We're just sitting there going, what is that? And then we couldn't identify it. So we're like, we look, and Ben's missing, the little dog. And Heather goes to look for him, and she finds him in her tent under her cot in a duffel bag. And he had never been scared of anything before.
Oh.
He did not come out for the rest of that night, even when we were eating, for the rest of the night. He stayed in there under the tent in her little bag. It was just, that was not natural for him. We could not figure out. Yeah. And then Heather, she came up with the idea, well, there were 3 of us there. There was me and her and then the little dog. She said, well, maybe that's what the rocks mean. There was 2 good-sized rocks and 1 little bitty one. Maybe the little bitty one was for Ben because he's a little bitty dog.
Oh, my God.
But, we just thought that was really weird that, it ended up
being straight up,
I know. It was almost like it was saying, all right, there's 2 people here, and then there's this little dog. I don't know. But it was strange. And Ben was so scared, poor baby. And he's never been scared. He never goes in the tent without Heather, and it was weird. And that happened the same time. That happened the same time that when we were up there with the rock stacks, and Heather had her actual sighting of something that ran across the street in front of us. And it was so fast. I was looking down at something, trying to pick up something from the floor. And she said, what is that? And by the time I looked up, it was gone. She saw it, and it was a cinnamon brown color. And she said, like, was on all 4s, ran across the street, and then went up a hill slope on the other side of the road. And she said it was just so fast, and it almost looked like it was grabbing the vegetation to help itself up the hill as it was going. And she's kept it like the rest of us. She's like, what did I see? What did I see? And she kept thinking she saw a bear. And she's like, well, maybe I saw a bear. Maybe it was a bear. And then she kept telling me what it looked like. And she's like, well, you could see the hair was parted on the back of it, and it had this kind of long hair, and it was shiny. And the more she described it to me, and she's like, no, I never saw a snout. I don't know if I just didn't see it or it wasn't. I'm like, if it was a bear, you'd have seen it. It's easy to identify a bear. But we called around, and I already knew there's only black bears up there. There's been the whole time I lived there for 12 years, I saw 1 cinnamon colored black bear. They're really rare. And she called around in the area and asked just to make sure that there were no black bears in the area. And everybody said no. I mean, that there were no cinnamon colored bears in the area. And everybody said, no, they're black. We haven't seen any cinnamon brown ones lately. It's just all been black. So she finally, I think, talked herself into, I think I really saw one. So she's finally, I think, come to the conclusion, yeah, that's what she saw was a juvenile. Because it doesn't fit. The more she talks about it, if she were here to tell you, it does not fit a bear description at all. Wow. But that was pretty cool. That was when we found the scat pictures I sent you too was up there.
Scat pictures. Let's get into, I thought y'all were following Tim Autry into the woods. Everything.
No.
Every time I see poop in the woods, I always take a picture, send it to the guys. Hey, I think Tim's been out here, man. That's just one of the things.
Well, no,
oh my goodness.
We were riding her side by side, and we had gone into the Three Rivers Wildlife Management Area. Mm-hmm. And that was in the middle of the road, and it was so huge. When we were just driving down the road, we both saw it. We both looked at each other and said, "What was that?"
That's a good
just driving down the road. And so we backed up, and we were like, "Was that what it looked like?" So we backed up, and we went back and looked, and we're like, "Oh my God!" And I put the cigarette pack there for reference, but it was so huge, and it has deer hair in it.
Yeah, there's hair in it.
Has a lot of hair in it. And
I'm magnifying poop on the screen right now. Yes, this is happening right now.
It had a lot of deer hair in it, and it had a lot of like algae in it. And the only other thing that we've been checking around, the only other thing it could possibly be is mountain lion. But that was an awfully huge mountain lion, if that was a mountain lion. And it doesn't fit the description of anything else. So that was interesting. So we had to share that because
Man, I probably would have took that home.
I've not ever, well, you know, I
I
was,
know somebody who did.
I put it in a plastic bag. I'll go ahead and tell you. I put it in a plastic bag.
Oh, okay.
It degraded. But it was fresher than it looks because when I moved it, it was still wet on the bottom. So it kind of got gooey.
Ooh.
And I didn't know what to do with it. And then Tanya Kordek, you know, she's like, "Did you put it in the freezer?" And I'm like, "That thing's not going in my freezer," you know. So I didn't freeze it. It didn't do the right thing with it, so it just degraded. So, you know.
Don't tell my wife, but there's some poop in our freezer out in the garage.
Oh no!
I found out in Beeville. Yes.
No, that was not going in my freezer or my cooler or anything like that. So, you know,
I put it right next to the popsicles.
If I had to guess, I would lean towards mountain lion on that myself.
See, that's the only thing it resembles is mountain lion.
Yeah.
You know how big that mountain lion would have to be? I don't want to make that thing.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I agree. It'd be a big one for sure. So.
Oh, and here's another angle for those that want to, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to check stuff out. You know, you just have.
He's got great digestive tract. I can tell you that.
Hey, yeah, lots of fiber.
Yeah, yeah. He's eating one of those. He's regular. Probably eats bran flakes in the mornings. So.
Bran flakes. Okay, Lisa, what? Boy, that's not. Well, that's the example you sent, right?
What?
But you actually took this one.
I'm not seeing them. I don't know what's wrong, but I'm not seeing anything. Any pictures? Mine's froze up.
Oh, it is? Did I freeze up?
Yeah.
I see it.
Froze up.
Looks like an eagle's nest or something.
Oh, that's a picture of, well, if it's one with the green trees, is it pine trees or a bunch of green trees in the picture? Because I can't see it.
Yeah, it's pine.
It's a pine. Okay, that we found in Oklahoma when we had Barbara and Elise with us. It was way up in a pine tree. And there were sticks, dead limbs, leaves, limbs from other trees and stuff just piled up there to make this big, huge nest-looking thing. And I sent the other picture to you that has the greenery around it because that's an actual, I don't remember if it was a gorilla or orangutan nest, but you can see the similarities.
Yeah, and I was going to, was it this one? This one?
No.
It's not this one?
I can't see. It's driving me nuts.
Let me read. Can you see the change now? I just changed it.
I can see nothing but the poop on my screen.
Oh man, you're stuck with the poop.
The poop is gone.
I'm stuck with the poop.
The poop is coming to get you. That is weird.
I would really like to be stuck on a different picture, but
oh man, it wants revenge. Okay, let's see because I found something similar to the picture you sent here in Chickasha.
Oh, that's the shelter. Yeah, that's the one that looked a lot like what I found or what we found in the backyard that had the bones and the feathers next to it. It looked a lot like that, but it was, I want to say it was a little bit bigger, but I don't know how big that one is in that picture. There's no reference.
So this one, you still can't see that, can you?
I can't see. No, I'm stuck on the poop still.
Oh man, that darn poop.
That's weird.
Darn.
I know.
Hate when that happens.
I do too. Do I need to close the window and come back?
No, you don't have to do that. That's
okay.
I mean, unless you really, really want to. But
well, I just can't see what you're talking about, so you know.
Here,
I have to kind of let you give me a description, and I'll tell you what it is.
Okay, it's just really crazy because your picture here, well, the one you sent me of the one in the tree in the pines, and then you
one that's similar.
It's kind of similar. where it's this one, I think. It's like a hut, kind of. Does it kind of look like a hut, sort of, and there's green all around it?
And it's like a nest in a tree.
Yeah, that one I just had up. So
Yeah.
Okay, that's an actual picture offline of an actual gorilla or orangutan nest.
Oh, so that's the picture. Okay.
That's what they really look like. And so I put that on there for the similarities of the one that Barbara and Elise and I found because they look so much alike.
Well, here's the one that Tyler found on the 500 acres on his parents' property, and I got up in there and I'll send it to you after the.
I was gonna say you'll have to send it to me because I like to see it, you know.
And it just kind of reminds me of that. It's like the same kind of thing, and there was a bunch of there's a nice big row of cedar trees, and this was the only one that had this kind of nesty looking thing in the middle of it.
Lisa, Debbie says to minimize your screen, then open it back up. See if that helps you.
Okay.
Look at Debbie, man. Debbie's on IT.
Yeah, she's in the IT department.
Hey.
You didn't know I hired her.
I had no idea, man.
Yeah, I sent her.
Hey, thank you, Debbie.
She's on the payroll now.
Look at Debbie.
I can see it now. Okay, yes, I see this.
We're going to call this the Cryptoholics and Debbie show.
Thank you, Debbie. She always tries to fix my mistakes for me.
Okay, Lisa. So you sent this guy. Hey, wait. What is this?
What do you got?
Yes.
Why is that?
I saw it for a second.
That's so stupid. Damn. Oh man, Debbie needs to come over here and run this computer. Was that a cat?
Oh, it's a cat.
Yeah, I've got 4 cats, so I knew that was a cat.
I have 2 of them. So.
That's one of them darn cats.
It's one of my cats. She wants out. Go. Get away. Shoo.
So this one.
Okay, yes. That's the one we found up in Oklahoma. And it had all these sticks in it and limbs and stuff that was just packed down in it. And it was just weird. And it was huge. It was really big. And then the other one that I sent you.
Is it this one?
Nope.
No?
Go back. I saw it down there.
Oh, you can
keep going. I can. Keep going. Nope. Keep going back. Okay. I saw you pass it. There it is. That's an actual nest of one of the primates that I got off a line, and it looks so similar to what we found. Yeah, because yeah, and just because of the similarities, that's the only reason I sent you that one. But that one came offline of one of the primate things. But she just looks so much alike.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh,
although I don't think they're just primates, but still there's similarities. Oh, that's pretty cool right there.
Yeah, that was out there at Tyler's parents' place, and they've had a lot of activity out there. They call it the blur out there around those parts, is what they.
See, that looks like a blind to me because it could get in there and hide and see out both directions, and yeah.
It does.
Kind of looks like a good place. If something was in there, you'd never see it. Never.
See it. Especially like in the springtime, summer. Yeah, it'd be like, no way.
Yeah.
Hell,
you'd walk right past it and never see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was wild. Okay.
That is wild.
Let's see. Okay. What is this picture?
Okay. That's a picture that was given to me by my husband's his ex-boss from work where he works at AT&T.
Okay.
He was driving my car for a little while because his got dilapidated sitting on the side of the road. Somebody ran over it and anyways, he was carless, so he was driving mine to work. But mine has these big Bigfoot emblems on both sides of it. So he was there one day and the guy came over and said, "Hey, I see the Bigfoot emblems. What's up with that?" And my husband's like, "Oh, that's my wife. She does all that, And he's like, "Well, let me tell you about what we saw. And he started telling the story that he was over in Northeast Texas, and he saw this while him and his wife were camping, and it's now been, I think, 2 years ago in October. He saw this thing walking. Him and his wife had walked down the road, and they were walking down the side of the road, and they saw movement. They turned and looked, and this thing was walking towards this tree. So he took this picture, and he said after he took the picture, it went behind that tree, and it stayed there. It didn't come back out. It just stayed there. So he sent me that picture, and I was going to go check out the area, but it was closed, so we didn't get to go. But
it would be very interesting to revisit this.
I
want to find that exact spot and make sure there's not something there that's like a knot or something that's sticking up or anything.
Sometimes
to see.
Get all gnarly, and
they do, yeah. And I would love to find that exact spot, and I'm going to do that eventually when they open that back up. But a tornado went through that area, and they closed it all down. And
oh man, I
wonder if you could look on Google Earth if you could see something.
Oh, I don't know.
Think about that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
We can probably.
Yeah, because I know the general area that he told me he was in. But he sent that to my husband, and my husband come home, and he's like, I got to show you what my boss sent me.
Is it a lake or a river?
It's a lake.
It's a lake. Okay.
I had to think about where it was there for a second. It's Lake of the Pines, actually.
Man, that's either the cypress tree or that's something.
Something, yeah. He says it walked behind the tree and it stayed there until they left. You don't know.
Like they know you're there. It's like they just know.
And it looks like it has some. If it's one, it has some awesome long arms on it, but
yeah,
you can't tell from the picture. Really.
And
but it was very interesting.
What you can take from this is that guy sent your husband this picture because you had a Bigfoot sticker on your car that he was borrowing. Just imagine how many people out there might have a picture or video or something that they don't want to share because that's cool.
And that's why I keep that Bigfoot emblem on my car. I can see people passing me on the interstate, and they'll pass by me, and then they'll slow down, and they'll come back by and look at me, and then go again. And I'm like, I know what they're looking at. They're looking at this big Bigfoot on the side.
Yeah, I get that too on mine. So,
but I've been at the gas station before and had people comment, "Oh, you got a Bigfoot on your car. Are you looking for them?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm trying to." And they're like, "Well, let me tell you this story," So
those are the
best
think stories too.
Debbie had the same thought I was thinking when I saw this. I was like, I could run out there now and take a look at that if you want me to. Debbie's saying the same thing. I was like, I'll meet Debbie and Larry there. So
man, you go out there and Debbie and Larry are gonna be like right here in the tree.
Yeah.
Well, Debbie knows exactly where that is, so she could definitely go out there. She could probably find it. If she does, I hope Debbie takes some pictures and send them to me.
That would be really cool to see. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
That would be.
So cool. All right.
But that's just telling you that if you want to be crazy enough to put emblems on your vehicle, you can get stories that way.
You can. I've had people point, like I've been in drive-thrus like before, and I've seen people pointing and laughing at the back of the. And I'm like, oh, you just stick to your old concrete jungle.
I'm too old to care. I'm like, laugh if you want to. If you weren't there, I was.
They pull up next to you because they just want to see what you look like.
Yeah. How
see
much
if they know you.
Doodle is this person?
Do I know this wackadoodle?
Yeah. I do it to other people. They got Bigfoot stuff. I pull up to see if I know them. So.
Well, me too. But if they have something on there saying, so I've seen a couple that says I'd rather be squatching, and I'm like, hey, who is that?
Yeah.
Now that picture is from Honubby when Heather and I were up there, and we had stopped to let little Ben run around, and we were just looking around and found 2 of those footprints. And, we couldn't tell too much about them, just that there was, obviously something had stepped there. That's all we knew. But that was also not too far from where Heather actually had her sighting. So,
You say it was at Honubby?
Hodubby, yeah.
Will you guys be there this year?
I will be. I don't know if who all's going to come with me, but I will be there.
Yeah.
You're going to go. I'll go. I always go.
I'll be there. So
I'll see you there.
yeah, actually,
Yeah,
I'll be a speaker this year. So
Are you? No, that's cool.
Shane will be there with me.
I'm going to act like I don't know him again and say, "Hey, you look familiar."
That has to be an every time thing. Okay, wait, where's nope, that's not it. You got one more. Okay, here we go. So you got this
That's an asterisk.
asterisk. That looks like an asterisk.
It kind of looks like an X from the way I took the picture, but it is actually an asterisk. And Heather and I found that in the middle of the woods, so it was pretty interesting. So we had to get pictures of it.
I agree. Very cool. You got some great pictures.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, what is this? On Bigfoot?
I was, and that's what's funny is because that was way back in it was like 2002 or 2003.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about it is after I was on there, I went to look it up. Well, I didn't look it up. My friend that was there with us when it growled, who's still our friend now from Branson, she contacts me and she says, "Hey, when you look up Bigfootville, your picture's there?" And I'm like, "What?" She said, "Yeah, go to YouTube and look up Bigfootville." And so I did, and sure enough, it was my little snapshot that you had to click on. And I was like, "Oh my God."
Man, they put you front and center. Here she is, people.
They did. And I got in trouble over that Bigfootville, though, because when they filmed it, I was working with David Wilbanks back then, and he was one of the ones that, was putting this documentary together. And they actually filmed me at a store in Big Cedar that's not there anymore. Somebody burned it down. So, and I'm standing in front of the American flag and everything. Well, I never moved from there. That's where I was. And when they put it on Bigfootville, they have this house behind me, like in this creepy music, like this is where I lived or something, this is where I was. And I'm like, I don't know where that house came from. Well, I get contacted by the person who owns the house and says, "What are you doing at this house? You're trespassing." And I'm like, I wasn't, I promise you, I was not trespassing. And, yeah, I got a little bit of trouble over that. And I was like, it wasn't me.
Wow.
I did not know. Apparently the filmmaker had gone there and had done that and then put it up with me on there. And I'm like, I got in trouble.
Wow. That's crazy.
He's no longer mad at me, I must say. So, I'm okay with it now.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, that was crazy. I was on Bigfootville way back when.
I remember that. I remember when they were advertising for that.
I watched that recently, actually.
Yeah, did you?
I was Lisa Chandler on there. My last name was Chandler then.
Okay.
So,
signed my
yeah.
DVD.
What's funny? I worked at the hospital up there in Mena, and I had friends, and that show came out, and they were all coming up to me. "Can I have your autograph?"
You know it, man. But get up there.
And I was like, "Leave me alone." I never in a million years would have thought anybody at work would have watched that.
Now you can be the crazy Bigfootville lady. So
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah.
So you have any upcoming outings you're gonna go check out, or?
We are talking about going back with Britta,
Oh, wow.
and this time maybe actually hitting her Alabama place. We couldn't go last time because it was during one of the hunting seasons, and we had to wait for it to be over. And so we still haven't been to Alabama, but it is on she's recently been talking about it, and she's trying to get stuff ready to go there. She's got some beehives she's got to go collect, and she wants us there with her. So we may be going there, or we may be going back to Britta's because they're about to cut a lot of timber out of the area where,
Oh, that's
you
gonna.
know, where we got charged and everything. And I'm pretty sure you've heard the charge story. But yeah, they're fixing to cut all that out. And I'm like, that's going to cause a disruption. And we were kind of relying on that place, you know, in November, because when deer season starts, that's when they seem to come up closest to her land right there, because nobody hunts her land, but there's land right behind it that's hunting leases, and they move over into her land. And we were relying on that to be there.
Yeah.
So now she says they're going to be cutting out of there. So I don't know about that. No.
Never know. That might
But
just turn everything
yeah.
way up. You know?
It could. I mean, but it has been so hot lately that we have just not been able to do anything.
Stay at home, pretty much.
Yes, and it's too early for it to be this hot, because it's usually the end of July and the first part of August before it gets as hot as it's gotten, and we've not been able to do anything now for the last month because it's been 100 degrees.
Yeah,
and you just melt. Go outside and melt. You know, your skin just starts leaking, and it's awful.
well, I've been speaking with Elise, and she was maybe do like a little team up out at Britta's place.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I thought maybe she was talking to you about something else that we had planned.
Uh-oh. Huh.
Elise and I are going together, and we are going to do our own podcast.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're great. You're great on live, and you're awesome.
Yeah.
Totally.
So it'll be me and Elise together. So we're going to co-host, and it's something she's always wanted to do. And then it was something that just came to me one day, and I was just sitting there and I was like, I just got this feeling that I needed to do a podcast, because there's not very many women out there that do that. And I thought, I'm going to do a podcast. And I just decided on it. And I contacted Elise and I said, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. And she was like, oh my God, I've been wanting to do a podcast for so long.
Have you guys got a name or anything yet?
Yeah, we are. What the heck just happened to my Sam? Anyways, I don't know what happened to my.
We hear you.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I contacted her, and she was like, oh gosh, I always want to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. So I've been getting everything together, and I've had computer problems lately. So I'm trying to get that all the kinks worked out of that. But I think we have decided on calling it Cryptids Unlimited.
Ooh, okay. I like it.
Yeah, we wanted to do cryptids, but we didn't want to limit ourselves to just that, just in case somebody wanted to come on there and talk about something else. We put the unlimited on there,
Yeah,
I like it.
leave it open, but that's
yes, I will help you guys brand that thing. Yes, I'll help.
Say
you
it again.
Brand that. I'll help y'all brand it, or make
okay.
Any
help would be appreciated.
Yes, of course.
Are you guys doing just audio, or are you gonna do video like we do?
We're probably going to do, and I don't know why my sound thing stopped working, but we are probably going to just do audio.
Okay.
Because at least to start that, because we don't know what we're doing, but
we don't need it.
I have offered from a couple of people to help me. My son used to do a podcast, and his was the more of a conspiracy news type thing, he used to do. And he told me to come over and he would give me a tutorial, but I haven't gone over there. I've not made it. It's just too hard to do anything right now, but I did order some things that came in.
I think you guys have enough people that want to help, that'll help you, that I think y'all will be fine.
You think so?
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I wish I could hear you, but my headphones quit working. Turn the volume up, maybe I can hear you. But yeah, we're getting started on that, and I think that's going to be exciting.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys. It's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. It's we're going to try it. We may flop, but we're going to try it.
just do
It's
it
a
and have
lot of fun. I mean, Shane and I, we come on and we act goofy, and we don't really.
You don't see the millions of dollars I have.
Exactly. You don't see the checks rolling in, the royalties.
I actually had a man contact me last week because he saw me on Sasquatch Odyssey, and he got a hold of me, and he's like, I have a story I just want to get off my chest and tell you because it's in the same area that you lived in.
Oh,
And so I was like, oh, cool. Can I record your call? And also I tried the recording, and recording started, and my husband tried to call me and interrupted the recording. So none of it got recorded, but it was a really good interview with him too. And I'm probably going to call him back later, or Elise and I call him together and see if he'll retell his story. But
Definitely.
it was very interesting to hear. And I know we probably don't have a shortage of people that would want to be on the show, because there's so many people we know, and it's just, we're just going to try it.
Cool.
Just have fun
I'm
with
excited
it.
for you guys.
You never know until you do it. So
That's the probably my number one advice is just have fun with it. Don't make it too professional.
Don't
Don't try to make
serious.
right.
just have fun with it, because I think that kind of shows through more than anything, and you guys will have really good chemistry together. So
There's my co-host. See my co-host right there?
there you go. That's me.
My tickle.
Turtle.
Tickle.
What's his name again? Harold or something?
That's Howard.
Howard. That's it, Howard.
Howard Stern the turtle.
So you definitely can't take it serious.
No, his name is just.
You just got to go with it, man. That's the best.
Well, I'm like that too. So, people can't take me too seriously. So I know exactly what he means, and I know how to take it.
Life is way too short to take it serious. So at the end of the day, it's just Bigfoot.
Right.
Yeah.
Which nobody knows what is anyways. So many different. You could go all day and go all different directions and still not know, because the more that you think the more questions you start asking. You're like, I don't know nothing. I just don't know nothing.
Man, it really is. The more you think about it, the more questions you get. The farther
It is. It's a rabbit hole.
Man.
It is a rabbit hole, and I've been down the rabbit hole and back, and back in the early 2000s, there was a man named Eric Beckjord. I don't know if y'all remember him or not. He was the big paranormal guy. And back then, paranormal was just, don't talk about that,
Yeah.
And he made so many people mad. He made me mad. I had several arguments with the guy. And the last thing I remember him saying was, if you do this, investigating this subject long enough, you're going to end up in the paranormal realm. And I was like, not me, because, oh, no, it's a flesh and blood animal. No, it's something out there that's totally into the supernatural realm. And I don't know what the heck is going on with that. But he's right. And I feel like I was so mean to him back then. And now I wish I could apologize. But he has since passed away. But he was right. If you look into it long enough, you're going to end up in the paranormal part of it scratching your head going, what the heck, Yeah,
because you follow all the rules of the natural for as long as you can. Just like when we go out there to cast these tracks, like we know those, they just have not been that old. Especially in like January of 2019, those were not old.
Oh, wow.
It's like, where in the hell are they going?
Wow, yeah, I know. Tracks that disappear and Bigfoots that disappear, and you can use infrasound to say that's infrasound explains all that, on one end of it. And it does explain some of it, because that could cause some crazy reactions in people. And there's so many people that do, so many animals that do use it. But I feel like it doesn't explain everything, I feel like it still doesn't explain everything. So even trying to use that scientific view, and it just doesn't. I'm still going, what the heck?
Definitely. Man.
Very cool.
Wow.
I'll be looking forward to that. So
yeah. whatever help you guys need, you can reach out always.
Sure. And whenever you guys need us to go to Alabama, you be sure to let us know.
Well, that's going to be probably on Britta's schedule because she's the one that's got to take us there. So
Yeah. Wait, she has another property though. It's closer.
In East
right?
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's closer for me.
That's right for me, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where she's had all the action, and
Okay.
that's where we went and had the big scream and got charged by something. And
Yeah, you were like on the side by yourself, weren't you? Just waiting and.
well, that was in Oklahoma when I was on the side by side by myself, and I could hear everything. I could hear this thing over there that was trying to be everything all at once. Listening to it make goose noises and cow noises and dog noises and just going back and forth being different animals. And
You think maybe he was trying to see what you were gonna do, or?
I'm wondering where we were parked. There was a trail that went off into the woods, and I'm wondering if we weren't blocking the trail and it was wanting to come across, and here I am sitting in the way. And that's kind of what I got out of it. I don't know for sure, but I kind of felt like they left me here. But I had bad knees, and I just had some knee surgery, and I was like, I'm gonna sit here and let y'all walk the trail. But in the horror movies, that's the person that gets killed first, the one they leave sitting there.
Oh man, you just wait.
So I'm just sitting there by myself going, what is that over there? And I kind of wish I went with them.
Oh,
I'm going to die now,
wow.
I was really glad to see them when they came back.
Debbie made a comment, and I couldn't agree more with her. Oklahoma's the bomb.
Oh, yeah.
I think Oklahoma does not get enough credit for its
I
big
agree.
foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think people sleep on Oklahoma way too much, and they talk about Washington and Oregon and Ohio and all that. I mean, I'm putting Oklahoma right there in the top with everybody else. So.
For me, I'm going to put Louisiana in that because that's where I had my
Yeah. Oh yeah, you had plenty. Wow.
that southeast area of Oklahoma, and then East Texas are the really big spots for me that that I have had the most encounters at.
East Texas is calling my name, but I think I've camped more in Oklahoma in the last 5 or 6 years than I have my whole life in Texas. Like, I love it.
Yeah, the only place we've really been in Texas is to Britta's place, and it has not failed us, when we went. Now, the last time we went, we didn't get much, but, I think it was not hunting season, and, it didn't get much. But when we left, we did leave peanut butter and everything out, and it all came up missing. That was after we left, But we didn't really get that much that last time. It was really disappointing, too.
Yeah, you're never guaranteed, right? You're just not.
No,
Yeah.
no.
It happens. So.
Well, I need to hop off of here before I have to sleep on the couch.
Well, it is bedtime, isn't it? So, my husband's probably already in the bed going, well, I guess she'll come in here when she gets done.
Party animal. She can stay up partying all night. Yeah. No, but
We appreciate you coming on.
Well,
yeah, you're a great guest.
glad to be on.
And you guys are going to do great on your show. So
I think so.
You think so?
Mhm.
All right. If we don't, I'm going to come back and I'm going to say, wait a minute. You said, just kidding.
Brian said it first.
I'll say it. You can hold me to it. That's fine. If I'm wrong when you see me in Honova, you can pop me on the head or something. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Well, we're going to give it our all. So
There you
thanks
go.
for having me.
Hey, keep in touch, Lisa, and you got some crazy stuff that comes up again. You want to hop on here and talk to us about it? Let's do it.
All right.
Or you can talk about it on your own show.
That's right.
Well, you don't like to talk about yourself on your own show. You want to talk to somebody else.
We do it all the time. We'll do a show with no guest, and we'll just talk.
I know, right?
And you'll be shocked how much comes out of us. So.
You know, that'd probably be me and Elise because we camped by ourselves together and there was no shortness of conversation.
That's Shane and I. Like
That's how we are.
Never stop. So.
Yeah.
That's what they see from like 50 yards away.
Yeah.
A glowing campfire face.
Yeah. That's it. But that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, it was nice chatting with you. I'm really glad you came on, and look forward to see what you guys are gonna do.
All right, we'll let you know if we find something.
All right. Thank you so much.
Hey, we're gonna have you guys on our show too, so you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it.
that'll be fun.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.